of these ties will be played on the 17th of February and the second legs the following week. So it's all a little bit different this year with this playoff round to get into the last 16 and the group winners all bypassing around. They're straight to the last 16. Are you liking this new format, Michael?
It's different. I think by nature we all don't really like change too much, but I don't mind it so much. I think there's always been a bit of a strange scenario in this competition, of course, with Champions League teams dropping out and almost getting a second bite at the European cherry. So, I mean, yeah, it's a strange one, but I do like the fact that you get, the advantage of winning a group. You get something for it. You don't just get to play a European Champions League dropout team, which can be equally as hard. So yeah, I don't mind it, actually. I don't mind it. So West Ham and the like can put their feet up and relax for a round.
I know, I'm sure you're enjoying it, Joe. How nice is it for the Hammers to not even now have to think about European football till March?
It's unbelievable, Linz. It's been such a great story for the club, and a club that needed it. The Olympic Stadium, a new home, needed something to make it feel home. Them European nights, I think, really brought it home to how far the club have come. And to have knockout European football at the back end of a season I think it must have been decades since the club's had it, and everyone around the club's so excited about it. There've been some youngsters that have been blooded in the competition. It's been such a positive story. And what they'll do now, West Ham, is David Moyes will just get his team, get through the Christmas period, and they can put their feet up and wait for what will be a huge, huge tie. I know all the West Ham fans will be fingers crossed, toes crossed for Barcelona, because that'll be an unbelievable game.
I know you've watched every game, haven't you? You've been so impressed, and it's the 25th of February as well. Keep an eye on that date, Hammers fans, because that is when you will get the draw for the last 16. The only British team in this draw today, though, Rangers. Owen, who will they want? Who will they want to avoid?
Well, to be fair, they played really well under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. I know it was a tough ask, I think, taking over from Steven Gerrard, but he's done great. I don't think he's yet to lose a game. Look, Barcelona in this competition, I mean, you never think Barcelona be in the Europa League, but they are. So they're one of the best teams left in it with Borussia Dortmund. Obviously, they're not favourites. I don't think they believe they're going to win it, but they're in a great position to play against one of the top teams. And I think under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, they're going to play that attacking way. They love to play out from the back through the fullbacks, and I'm sure they'll do the same. But obviously, it depends on who you draw. If you get a big one, could be really tough, and if you get one you can beat, then I think they'll fancy their chances.
Yeah, whoever it is, even if it's Barcelona, they're not going to relish a trip to Ibrox, are they?
They're not, and Barcelona are an interesting team this season, aren't they? Because normally as a player you think, yeah, let's go. You think, well, we're not going to win, we're going to get knocked out, but it's a brilliant tie. But actually this time you play a brilliant tie and you could beat them, so I think Barcelona will be a good tie.
You never know. Well, we're going to head back then to Nyon in Switzerland for the draw for the Europa League playoffs, and it is back to Pedro Pinto. Over to you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to UEFA's headquarters here in Nyon for the UEFA Europa League knockout round playoffs draw. As you may know, starting this season, the UEFA Europa League has undergone some changes and featured 32 teams in the first stage. The group winners have automatically gone through to the round of 16. However, the runners-up will be paired with those teams who finished third in their UEFA Champions League qualifying groups for a new playoff round. All the teams in this draw have the same aim, to try and make the UEFA Europa League final on the 18th of May in Seville. We actually have two teams represented in today's draw from that Andalusian city: Real Betis, who have never gone further than the round of 16 in this competition, and Sevilla, who have a special affiliation with this trophy, having won it on 6 occasions. However, they will have plenty of obstacles in their way if they wish to play the final in their home city. Napoli and Olympiacos, for example, are more than accustomed to the knockout stages of this competition, having each made this phase a record 9 times, a record they actually share with Ajax, who of course have reached the UEFA Champions League round of 16 this season in quite emphatic style. Plenty to look forward to, as we have plenty of top teams in this draw. Let's have a look at the teams still involved. The Sevilla Stadium is the final destination for all teams dreaming of going far in this competition. Now, the excitement levels will remain high when the knockout phase begins in February, but who will take on who? That's what we will find out very shortly indeed. Time to invite on stage the man who will be the master of draw proceedings, the UEFA Deputy General Secretary, Giorgio Marchetti.
Thank you very much, Pedro. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to start by wishing all the teams who have qualified for today's draw the very best of luck over the coming season and in their European endeavours. 8 different national associations are represented today. 4 clubs have won this trophy before on 10 occasions between them: Napoli, Porto, Zenit, and of course the record holder Sevilla, where this season's final will take place. The presence of a team from Moldova, Sheriff Tiraspol, who have reached the knockout stage for the first time in their history, emphasizes the importance of open competitions, where any team has the chance to qualify. A special mention to G&K Dinamo, who sealed an impressive 1-0 win at West Ham on matchday 6, booking their passage through to the knockout stage with their first win on English soil in 9 attempts. With the new format being implemented this season, for the very first time, we will conduct a draw for the new knockout playoff round, where the Europa League group runners-up are going to face off 8 teams coming from the Champions League group stage. The reward will be a place in the round of 16, where 8 already qualified group winners are very interested spectators looking forward to learning their potential opponents. Sevilla is the destination for this season's final, and now, to assist us with today's draw, I would like to welcome to the stage a player who has a particular affiliation with the city of Sevilla and Sevilla FC. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage our special guest for today's draw, Andrés Palop.
Thank you, Giorgio. Buenas tardes, Andrés. It's a pleasure to have you here. Of course, you have such a fantastic history in this competition. And before you get going with the draw, I would like to ask you a couple of questions. First of all, who has impressed you so far on the way in this competition so far?
Sí, hay grandes equipos, equipos que ya están en octavos de final, como Leverkusen, como Lyon, son equipos importantes que han hecho muy buena fase. Luego equipos que vienen de la Champions, como el Barcelona, el Sevilla, equipos importantes, Dortmund. Y luego, evidentemente, un equipo que me llama mucho la atención es el Nápoles, ¿no? Ha hecho un gran fútbol, atractivo, y sobre todo tienen un gran entrenador como Sarri, que propone siempre muy buenas ideas.
Andrés saying that there's a lot of teams who have impressed so far, the likes of Lyon, Leverkusen, and some of the teams from the Champions League as well, who have come down to this competition, like Barcelona, Sevilla, Dortmund, and then there are always a lot of quality sides to face on the way to lifting this trophy. I also wanted to, of course, mention the fact that Sevilla is a city that has such amazing history in this competition. Sevilla, the team winning it 6 times. What makes this competition so special for the team of Sevilla?
Sí, esta competición para el Sevilla es como si dijéramos una competición madre, es donde nace toda la historia del Sevilla, a nivel europeo, a nivel de nombre, es donde más nombre se ha creado en el fútbol europeo, ¿no? Por lo tanto, hay una motivación especial. Es cierto que viene de la Champions, donde recala nuevamente en la Europa League, pero que tanto el club como la ciudad, como su afición y los jugadores tienen una gran motivación para volver a defender este título.
Andrés saying that really this competition and this trophy, the competition is kind of the mother of all competitions when it comes to European tournaments, because that's where Sevilla have made history so far. This season they've come from the Champions League, but now the city, the fans and the club are all intent on challenging for the title. Finally, I wanted to ask, what can we expect from Sevilla, the city, for the final, and tell us a little bit about the passion that fans there have for football.
Sí, Sevilla es una de las mejores ciudades del mundo para visitar, para conocerla. Tiene un gran clima, gran gastronomía y sobre todo en el fútbol hay un gran ambiente, un ambiente de fútbol total, donde se disfruta muchísimo y creo que es un escenario como Ramón Sánchez Pizjuán, recién remodelado, donde van a poder disfrutar de una gran final y de una gran ciudad junto a la gente, ¿no? a la gente de calle, que es muy atractiva.
We can expect a great final with fantastic atmosphere at the remodeled Sánchez Pizjuán stadium, and obviously you can eat very well in the city. It's a very warm city as far as being hospitable, so he's sure it will be an unforgettable occasion for all those who travel to Sevilla for the final. Andres, now it's time to get down to business and help us with the draw. I'm going to pass the floor over back to Giorgio, who will help lead all the proceedings. I'm just going to get by you here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andres, for your insights. And we, of course, are all looking forward to the May's final. We are almost ready to commence the draw. And before we do so, I will invite on stage Michael Hezesved, Head of Club Competitions, who will assist in this draw and will first explain the technical procedure.
Thank you, Giorgio, and good afternoon. For today's draw, every runners-up from the UEFA Europa League group stage will be drawn against the teams that finished third in the UEFA Champions League group stage. Clubs from the same association cannot be drawn against each other. The UEFA Champions League clubs play the first leg at home. Each of the 8 pairings will be determined by drawing one of the UEFA Champions League club first, then one of the eligible runners-up. The 8 balls containing the names of the UEFA Champions League clubs are already placed in front of Giorgio in his ball, while the balls containing the names of their potential opponents are picked from the 8 different runners-up pots just in front of me. After drawing each UEFA Champions League club, the computer will indicate which runners-up can be drawn in accordance with the conditions explained, and the relevant ball will be placed into the other ball every time. Should we have only one team eligible to be drawn against a particular UEFA Champions League club, there will be no draw and the 2 teams will be paired directly. This procedure is then repeated for all the 8 pairings. Please note that the knockout round playoffs of the 2021-22 UEFA Europa League will be placed on 17th for the first leg and 24th of February for the return legs. After the draw and in accordance with the competition regulations, the UEFA administration will determine the final fixture list. The result will be announced later this afternoon. Now, that's it from me. From the technical side, I hand the floor back to you, Giorgio, so we are ready to proceed.
Yes, and as we are ready to proceed, let's read out the names of the 16 clubs involved in the draw of today. We start with the UEFA Europa League group runners-up. It's Rangers FC, Real Sociedad de Football, SSC Napoli, Olympiacos FC, SS Lazio, SC Braga, Real Betis Balompié, and the GNK Dinamo. Among the unseeded teams, those coming from the UEFA Champions League group phase, we have RB Leipzig, FC Porto, Borussia Dortmund, FC Sheriff Tiraspol, FC Barcelona, Atalanta BC, Sevilla FC, and Football Club Zenit. So everything is ready. I am ready to draw the first unseeded club, one of the 8 clubs coming from the Champions League group phase. And the first club drawn is Sevilla FC, who are hosts for the next final. Their record 6-time winners, and for Sevilla FC we have all the possibilities except the 2 Spanish clubs, Real Sociedad and Real Betis. So 6 possible opponents for the most successful club in the UEFA Europa League. Sevilla FC, they will have to play the first leg at home at the Ramon Sánchez Pizjuán and test the stadium for the final that will take place in May. And Sevilla will face in this round
GNK Dinamo.
GNK Dinamo. So GNK Dinamo from Zagreb will travel to Sevilla. GNK were quarter-finalists last season, where they struck their best result ever in a UEFA Cup or UEFA Europa League campaign. Now it is the turn of Atalanta. Atalanta, they can face all the remaining teams except Napoli and Lazio. Atalanta were in the quarterfinals of the UEFA Cup in 1991, but also in the quarterfinals of the Champions League much more recently, in 2020, when the quarterfinals were held in the context of a tournament in Lisbon, due to the exceptional situation.
Olympiacos.
Olympiacos are the opponents for Atalanta, so this pairing is defined as Atalanta versus Olympiacos. 9th time in the UEFA Europa League knockout phase for Olympiacos, which is a record. Leipzig. For Leipzig, all opponents are possible among the seeded teams, so they have 6 opportunities. Leipzig, quarter-finalists of the competition in 2018, and they reached the quarter-finals in their first ever participation. The opponents of Leipzig are
Real Sociedad.
Real Sociedad. So Real Sociedad, the quarterfinals of 1989.
Yes.
They have been missing in round of 16 since the 2003-2004 season, so they will try to grab the opportunity against Leipzig. FC Barcelona. Barcelona can play against all teams except Real Betis, so 4 different opportunities for Barcelona at their first appearance in the UEFA Europa League and first appearance including UEFA Cup since 2003 and 2004. It is actually the 13th club from Spain participating in the UEFA Europa League era.
ECC Napoli.
So Barcelona against Napoli. So this is really a great tie that we are looking forward to. Napoli winners in 1989. After scoring 15 goals in the group stage, only Lyon scored more. Football Club Zenit. Zenit St. Petersburg, and for Zenit we have 4 possibilities, all 4 remaining seeded clubs: Rangers, Lazio, Braga and Real Betis. They are the most recent Russian winners of this trophy. They won in 2008, same year as they won the UEFA Super Cup.
Real Betis Balompié.
And they will face off Real Betis from Spain and Football Zenit, Football Club Zenit. Betis is the 5th pairing. 3 are left. Now we have Borussia Dortmund. So for Borussia, 3 opportunities: Rangers, Lazio or Braga. Twice finalists of the UEFA Cup, 1993 and 2002. And for the 10th consecutive season in knockout phase of a UEFA club competition.
Rangers.
Borussia Dortmund versus Rangers FC, the finalists of 2008. FC Sheriff Tiraspol. the surprise of Champions League. We have only one possibility for Sheriff. That possibility is as SC Braga, as it is shown on this paper.
SC Braga.
So, Sheriff Tiraspol versus Braga, and we have only one last pairing left. The pairing we'll see as a home team of the first leg, FC Porto. The winners in 2003 and 2011, and they will face the only team left in the pot of the seeded teams, which is the team that Andres is showing us in a second.
Is Lazio.
So Porto Lazio seals this draw. That's the last pairing of this knockout playoff round. Thank you very much, Andres, and the floor is back to Pedro.
And what a pairing it is. Let's recap the results of this playoff draw. Sevilla taking on Dinamo, Atalanta facing Olympiacos, Leipzig versus Real Sociedad, Barcelona, Napoli. Then we've got Zenit, Real Betis, Borussia Dortmund, Rangers, Sheriff Tiraspol, Braga, and FC Porto versus Lazio. Let me remind you when those matches take place. First legs on the 17th of February, the return matches on the 24th of the same month. That really is all from us here at the House of European Football in Nyon. We'd like to take this opportunity to wish everyone following us a happy holiday season. From Andres, Giorgio, Michael, and I, it's goodbye from Nyon. Take care, all the best. See you soon.
Let's just recap those ties once again for you then. The Europa League playoff round will be between Sevilla, the six-time winners, and Dinamo Zagreb. Atalanta, who keep punching above their weight, they're taking on Olympiacos. It's Leipzig v Real Sociedad. What a tie it is between Barcelona against Napoli. Napoli, of course, knocking Leicester out. It's Zenit St. Petersburg against Real Betis. Dortmund up against Rangers. Dortmund second in the Bundesliga at the moment. A chance for Rangers to test themselves against one of European football's heavyweights. It's Sheriff against Braga. Porto will face Lazio, and the first legs will be on the 17th of February, with the second legs on the 24th. We'll head to a break now and discuss all of those ties with Joe Cole, Michael Owen and Owen Hargreaves very shortly. Hi, Alan. It's Lindsay in the studio. I'm just checking you can hear me okay.
Not right now, no.
Hi, Alan. This is Lindsay. I'm just checking that you can hear me from the studio. Europa League. As they try to reach the last 16, they will be facing off against the side second in the Bundesliga, heavyweights Borussia Dortmund. What a tie that is for Rangers as they get to test themselves against the best, and there is confirmation of all the playoff fixtures. Sevilla, the 6-time winners, face Dinamo Zagreb. It's Atalanta against Olympiacos. Leipzig will face Real Sociedad. Barcelona against Napoli, 2 European heavyweights going head-to-head there. Zenit St. Petersburg will face Real Betis. There you have it there, confirmation of Rangers against Dortmund. Moldovan side Sheriff face Braga, and it is Porto against Lazio. And we're going to get some instant reaction to this draw now. We're going to speak to a man who knows all about what it's like to play big European nights for Rangers. Let's speak to Alan Hutton, who joins us on Zoom now. Good to talk to you, Alan. How do you feel about that then, Dortmund?
It's some tie, isn't it? I mean, I think all the players and the management staff will be looking forward to it. But me personally, it was probably one of the teams that I wanted to avoid. But it's great for these guys to go and play against one of the best teams in European football. So I'm sure they're really looking forward to it.
And how good is it to see Rangers coming up against Europe's top teams again?
Oh, it's brilliant. Everything that Rangers have went through over the last few years, this is what they've been building for, to get back to get into European competition. And to see such a team like Borussia Dortmund come back to Ibrox under the lights, it's just something special about it. So I'm sure everybody, and especially the fans, have been dying for this for a long time now.
And the atmospheres at both grounds are going to be incredible, both famous for their atmospheres as well. Dortmund will not be looking forward to a trip to Ibrox.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. I was fortunate enough to play there for Scotland, and it was an unbelievable atmosphere. So if Rangers can stay in the game, obviously in the first leg, bring them back to Ibrox, and it will be a fortress. They'll have to make it that way to stay in the game. But it'll be a very special night for everybody involved. And
Van Bronckhorst will have really sort of put his stamp on the team by February. How impressed have you been with his start?
Oh, he's been excellent. I really did fear a little bit for Rangers at the start when Steven Gerrard left. They obviously took all his backroom staff. I thought it was going to be difficult for them, but Van Bronckhorst has come in. He's really hit the ground running. He's tweaked the team here and there. They've really taken to these tactics. So hopefully they can go from strength to strength, but they'll need it coming up against a very strong Borussia Dortmund team.
And that last game in the group was a dead rubber. Rangers already knew they were playing this knockout tie, but did you really see the players just trying to impress their new manager?
Yeah, exactly. They have to. I mean, obviously the new manager coming in, everybody starts afresh. It's a new slate. They've had to wait for their opportunity. And against Lyon in a European night, it was always going to be a difficult tie, but they have to go out there, prove their worth, show that they're capable of playing on these big stages, and put their name in the hat for the manager to say, look, you can trust me, I'm ready, and I'm up for these big games.
They've got difference makers as well, haven't they, with Morelos, Ryan Kent? They've really enjoyed big European nights.
Yeah, Morelos, he just comes to life on the European nights under the lights, as I said before. But I think one of the little tweaks that Van Bronckhorst has made is he wants his wingers to play a little bit wider now. You see the likes of Ryan Kent getting wide and delivering into the box. I think that suits Morelos better. He wants to play between the sticks and get in those areas where he can affect things and score goals. So hopefully we'll see the best of him in the upcoming games.
How do you think Rangers should approach this tie then?
Cautiously, I think. Obviously, it's all about staying in the tie. They can't go gung-ho and try and attack them in the first leg. They'll have to defend solidly as a unit and try maybe break on the counter-attack with the likes of Ryan Kent's pace. If they can get a good result, possibly a draw or just maybe a 1-0 defeat and take it back to Ibrox, try and have an atmosphere there with the crowd and make it difficult for them and still have to hit them in the counter-attack. I don't think you can open up against a team like this. They're too good and they'll pick you apart. So just stay in the tie for as long as you can and use the counter-attack wisely.
Oh, and just how strong are Dortmund at the moment? They're second in the league at the moment. How are they looking?
They've second, but they've been pretty average actually all season. Erling Haaland's missed a bit of time with injury. I mean, he's the one they're going to have to game plan for. Erling Haaland, every time he plays, he scores. They haven't seen a player like him virtually all season. So he is a huge threat. But they've had some issues under the new manager, and I think they've conceded a fair bit as well. So look, if Rangers get it right on the day, on the counter-attack, as Alan said, they're a threat, especially with Ryan Kent and Morelos. But if Erling Haaland's in the form that he's normally in, then it could be very, very difficult for them.
Alan, how do you see that Rangers defence getting on against Erling Haaland?
Well, look, there's no doubt about it. They will look forward to it. You want to challenge yourself and play against some of the best players in the world, but Owen's right, they'll have to have a game plan for them. They'll have to stay tight, and it's probably the one area where Rangers have struggled through this season. They've conceded too many goals, and you're going to have to be on top form to stop a striker like, obviously, Erling Haaland. So it's all going to kind of revolve around him. If they can keep him quiet, I think they'll do a good job.
Do you think in general the fans will be really happy to have perhaps a harder draw, to have that special occasion against one of the top European teams rather than the easier passage that they could have had perhaps?
Yeah, I think they will. I mean, obviously I was looking at it before the draw, and you look at like Barcelona when we played them in 2007 in the Champions League. That's what the fans crave. That's what they want. They want those special nights back. And Borussia Dortmund at this moment in time, I know they're not maybe doing so well as they have in the past, but they're still a fantastic football team. So they'll want these big sides coming. They want to see them play at Ibrox and test themselves against the best in the business, and that's what they're going to come up against.
Alan, it's good to talk to you. Thank you very much for joining us today. Rangers then against Dortmund. Dortmund, the joint favourites now in the competition with Barcelona. What do you think of that for a tie, Joe?
Well, it's a hell of a tie. I think, again, Alan's right. We said Ibrox is the factor here. You need to go away in the first leg and keep it tight and then go back there. And that if ever a fan base has been starved of these nights, it's the Rangers faithful, and they will make it a noise. They'll make it a cauldron. The atmosphere. The big problem, like Owen says, is stopping Erling Haaland. Some of the top defenders in the Bundesliga and the Champions League haven't worked out how to do that. So Van Bronckhorst has got to have a game plan to stop him playing. Maybe stop the supply into him. Maybe suffocate his horse. But it's an intriguing tie, and I think it's probably the most difficult tie they could have got. But they're going to embrace it, and it's going to be a fantastic night at Ibrox.
Bursting with young talent, that Dortmund side as well. Jude Bellingham continues to impress, Michael.
Oh, yeah, what a player. The question is how long is he going to stay out there, and how long until he comes and graces our shores. It's exciting to have so many great young players, and one or two of them trying their hand abroad. Of course, it's a different experience. He's had, Champions League experience now. He's had experience of playing in huge domestic games as well, so it can only do wonders for his career, and when he comes back he'll be a more rounded player, I'm sure. But it's fascinating listening to Alan, to Joe and Owen talking about these big games, and it just, I wonder, in certain clubs there must be a cut-off point. If you're in a top club, you're actually not bothered about a good day out. You don't want to go to the Bernabeu, you don't want to go to Madrid because they could knock you out. If you're Liverpool, you want an easy tie. If you're Man City, you want an easy tie. And it's just, where's the threshold here? Like Rangers, can they go on and go deep into the competition? If they think realistically not, then this type of game against Borussia Dortmund or Barcelona is probably what you want. A great occasion, pitting your wits against great teams. Whereas if you've got ambitions to go and win it, you probably don't want this type of draw. So I think Rangers fans will have mixed emotions today.
What about as a player, though? Do you think, Joe, the players really would rather test themselves against the best?
It's a great point by Mo. It's like where your club's at the moment. I don't think Glasgow Rangers, with all due respect, expect to win this tournament. So they've been unbelievable. Steven Gerrard's done a great job there, and then Van Bronckhorst has come on. He seems to have hit the ground running. But it is just about the occasion. And if they do go out and do beat Borussia Dortmund with the great players that they got, then these lads become even more legends in the city and the club. Glasgow Rangers are a few years away from competing at this level again because they've come from such a low point over the last 10 years where they was the financial problems, they was relegated. But it's a fantastic club and a fantastic city. And European football is all the better for having Glasgow Rangers at this stage of the competition.
You've watched a lot of Rangers, haven't you, in the group stage when we've been doing the Europa League. What do you think of the campaign so far that they've had?
Well, I was with Alan. I thought it would be difficult, to take over from Steven Gerrard after the job that he did there. But you know what? I was amazed that they went to Lyon in the last match day and actually matched them. Nicked the draw, but actually matched them in terms of possession, in terms of shots. Normally you go there as a Scottish team and you get, they're one of the favourites in the competition, Lyon. Up to that point, they were unbeaten, I think, in the Europa League.
Yeah.
And they matched them.
And it was a dead rubber, but it didn't look like
No,
it.
but they played really, really well. I think for a new manager to go in there against one of the competition's favourites and play so well bodes well for them. They want to play. They're not just going to sit in and absorb pressure and hit teams on the counter. But the problem is with Dortmund, there's such a heavy favourite in that. So, but I think the manager has the right to be brave. He wants to play football, and that would be a great game because Dortmund play with you and they give you a chance. They've leaked a few goals this season themselves.
What do you think went wrong for Dortmund in the Champions League?
Well, they've had a lot of issues this season. I think defensively they've had a lot of issues. In goal, I think the balance of the side is not what it was, and Erling Haaland's been out as well. So I think if they get all the players back fit, then they're one of the favourites for the competition with Barcelona and Napoli as well. But if you don't have your key players fit, then I think it's an issue. And the new manager's trying to implement a slight different style, and that hasn't really worked. So they're maybe finding a bit of form right now. And as the boys mentioned, they've got a couple of months to sort that all out. But again, any team with Erling Haaland and Jude Bellingham in it is very, very fortunate to have those guys in it. What
chance do you give Rangers, Michael?
A small chance. They've got a chance. They've got to play on the fact that Ibrox is a fortress. There's not many we were just discussing before, but even in the Premier League, you think, if you went to that ground, this ground, but Anfield is certainly one. You go to Celtic or Rangers up in Scotland, it's an absolute fortress. So they've got to stick in the tie, get something, and then, of course, try to pull off a miracle at Ibrox.
Well, let's confirm all of the ties as well then for the knockout stage in the Europa League. Sevilla, who have won this trophy 6 times, are up against Dinamo Zagreb. Atalanta, who just keep impressing under Gianpiero Gasperini, face Olympiacos. But the standout other tie there, Joe, it could easily be a Champions League tie. It usually would be, wouldn't it? Yeah. Barcelona against Napoli. Barcelona, now a Europa League team. Does it feel like a watershed moment for them?
It certainly doesn't feel right. I mean, them two names, Napoli and Barcelona, that brings out memories, historic memories. All of the great players in European football may have passed through certainly Barcelona, and obviously Napoli synonymous with Diego Maradona. So, I mean, it's an amazing game, amazing that it's in the Europa League. And I think Barcelona's one of them where they're in a transitional period, and it's just, we watch with bated breath how Xavi's going to do. We watch how they're going to drag themselves out of this, because they will drag themselves out of this, because they are an unbelievable club. So they will get it, but the next few years is going to be tough for Xavi. And where they are in the league as well, they might have to try and win this competition to even get into the Champions League, because and there's so much things going on at the club, but they've got a group of young players there as well that are outstanding as well. And it's just how quick can they season, how can they develop and grow into the next crop. So we watch with bated breath.
That's the thing though, isn't it? Joe's right, they're 8th in La Liga. Could this end up being the better thing for them, the fact they've dropped into the Europa League? Because it might be their best chance of getting into the Champions League next season.
How many times have we seen it before, and how many times we've said it? And the answer will no doubt come later in the season. Let's see how all the teams progress, because, all of a sudden you might have to start prioritising one competition over another. And Barcelona could be in that situation. They're still 8th or around that number, come April, then they might have to start really focusing on this competition to get back into the Champions League. And as Joe said, Barcelona are going to be right at the top of football again in the future. It's just a question of when. They've slipped so far, but you'd think that they've reached rock bottom now, and it's just a building process and how they're going to get back up.
Could be a long road back.
Well, I think they could easily go out against Napoli, with the utmost respect to Barcelona and their history. That's a good Napoli side. So I wouldn't say that it's a certainty they're going to go through against Napoli. If they get it right on the day, they could easily knock Barca out, who disjointed at best they look, and defensively the issues that they have. So I worry for Barcelona, but I agree with the boys. They'll get back, but the problem is, could be even bigger low if they go out in the Europa League in the next round.
Because Napoli started the season really strongly, but they've gone off the boil a bit lately. But they've got big players, haven't they, to come back from injury, who they could have back for February. Osimhen, they've had Koulibaly out as well, Zambo Anguissa. They're missing big players.
Yeah, look, they've got Fabian Ruiz is another one of those players, really, really good player. I'd love to see him over in the Premier League, but Osimhen, he's been fantastic for them. And I think the last game that they played, they had probably 3 of the most important players out injured. So if they get those players back fit, I fear for Barcelona defensively, the issues that they have, they could that could be a very interesting tie. So let's see in a couple of months' time where both teams are at. But Napoli are a threat without question.
Definitely. What a game that should be. Absolutely. Well, that is 2 draws done. Or is it 1? It could be 1, because there is a lot of controversy following the Champions League draw earlier on. Manchester United, there was confusion. They were drawn in the pot against Villarreal initially, a team that they couldn't play at the time. Then Villarreal were drawn against Manchester City, but Man United weren't in the pot as a potential opponent for Atletico Madrid in that draw. Atletico ended up drawing Bayern Munich, one of the big favourites for the competition as well. Lots of reaction to that draw on social media. Henry Winter has said probably the most dramatic draw Andre Arshavin has been at the centre of since Liverpool 4, Arsenal 4 in 2009. But on a serious note, ESPN journalist Alex Shaw has said Atletico Madrid are talking to UEFA about the Champions League draw. UEFA are currently discussing whether the draw can go ahead in its current guise. A redraw decision coming within the hour is the word. Is it hard to see, Joel, how they can let this draw stand?
It is hard to see because, it's so organised, so painstaking to make it fair that if you're an Atletico Madrid, and you're going to feel hard done by because you're going to have to go and play against Bayern Munich. So someone's made a mistake, and I think what's important is crucial. They said that they're going to make the announcement within an hour because the boys were talking off air. There's going to be fans booking flights, tickets, everyone making their plans. So that it needs to get done. It needs to get done quickly, and I'd like to see UEFA either say, right, we're going to go with it, or we're going to change it. I personally think, in the interest of fairness, that they need to redo it in some capacity.
Chelsea would possibly not be happy at all if that happens. They've drawn Lille, Joel.
Yeah, I know. And listen, but it's not going to be great for Chelsea. But I think I can't see a way that you can keep it fair and not redo it.
If it stood, Michael, would it just completely affect the integrity of the competition?
Exactly. And that is the bottom line. Let's look at the positives. It's still a long time away. There's not been any ties been played, and we've not learnt about it later on. It's just happened. Yes, there will be a few fans that might have booked flights and hotels maybe, and that's a huge inconvenience. But apart from that, I don't see, there's a lot of positives. If you're ever going to make a mistake, if it's ever going to have to be a redraw, then it's probably at this stage and finding out straight away that there was a mistake. And it's not just one team that's affected. Because of that, it's had a knock-on effect to the draw as a whole. So in the interest of fairness and of everything, I don't see another outcome bar you're just going to have to do a redraw, which is going to be so painful for certain clubs, fans, everyone else. But I don't know what the alternative is.
Man United fans might be like, whew, at the moment. Who knows? They've got PSG. The official Atletico Madrid Twitter account has said we are in talks with UEFA to ask for explanations and a solution after the mistakes made in the Champions League round of 16 draw. Owen, Atleti clearly won't be happy. They've got Bayern Munich as well in the tie. They will really want this redraw to happen.
Yeah, and I'll be almost certain that it will. They'll have to do a redraw. They can't keep it as it is. It's not a fair draw, and the point of the draw is to make it fair. United weren't really in there when they should have been, and it was just in the wrong part. It's just a human error. I don't think we've ever really seen this happen in a draw, so I'm almost certain they'll do a draw, and Joe makes a good point. They're probably better off just doing it today. They've got it all set up. Just make sure they get the pots right. This time, all the other English teams would be super annoyed because they got great draws. United got a dreadful one. And obviously, depending on what everybody gets, There's going to be some happy people and going to be some annoyed people. But it's annoying for everyone. But in terms of fairness, they have to do a redraw. I don't see any other way. Well,
we're just getting the breaking news that they are going to redraw that Champions League last 16 draw. It's going to be at 2 o'clock today, so it will all happen again in Lyon, Joe. It was really the only possible outcome, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And also, to add something to that, for, UEFA have public relations hasn't been great. I think as well, if anybody's out of pocket, any fans in Europe, I know it's quick, but some people do it like that. Maybe UEFA should do something where they can compensate people, because it is human error. It's not a problem. Owen's right. It's a case of somebody's going to be happy. It's going to be. I think it could be worse for my team, Chelsea. You're playing against Lille, so. But I think in interest of fairness and sporting competition, it needs to be redone. Get it redone. I'm glad they're going to do it swiftly, and let's hopefully Chelsea get Lille again.
I was going to say, you might not be saying the same thing if it's Chelsea, Bayern or Real Madrid, which is the other possible opponents, Ajax as well, possibly.
Yes, but it has to be fair, Linz, doesn't it? It has to be fair, and someone's going to feel hard done by it, and someone will be very, very happy if it's like the Manchester United situation and everything. So I'm glad they're redoing it.
I'm just glad, Michael, that we weren't doing the draw here. We were just talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to have to rebook my train ticket as well to get home today. So I think there's going to be a slight inconvenience for a lot of people, let's say. However, as I say, I can't see a fairer thing. I mean, it's disappointing for everybody. But if something was fundamentally wrong and the mistake was made and it's affected a lot of teams, then you're just going to have to do it again. Yeah.
You feel, though, looking at the draw, the one big beneficiary could be Manchester United.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're not going to get a worse one, are they, Lindsay? So United will be absolutely delighted. Let's see what comes up. I mean, depending on how it comes, some fans are going to be delighted and some are going to be so annoyed. So let's see if we get another draw.
Well, we will. We are going to get another Champions League last 16 draw that is going to take place in Lyon at 2 o'clock today. So we've actually got one draw down and there's now 2 to go. And the one that we're going to have next is the one Brendan Rodgers just didn't want to be in. Defeat to Napoli on match day 6 sent Leicester out of the Europa League and into the Europa Conference League. But they'll be joined by Celtic, who also finished 3rd in their group, and Tottenham as well. They'll be there in name, but in all likelihood not in reality, after a controversial week which will probably see them out of the competition.